We begin in Iran, where an anti-U.S. conservative will become the next president. The government says Ebrahim Raisi won over 60% of the votes in an election on Friday. Raisi is a well-known Islamic law scholar who serves as judiciary chief. His victory was widely expected as he has the support of religious leaders and conservative voters, while prominent moderates were barred from standing as candidates. Observers say he'll likely review the policies of outgoing President Hassan Rouhani, who pushed for dialogue with the West. Raisi has indicated he will maintain a nuclear agreement with world powers, but he has vowed not to make any easy concessions to the U.S., which is looking to return to the deal after pulling out under former President Donald Trump. Washington has imposed sanctions on Raisi for his alleged role in crackdowns on anti-government demonstrations. Myanmar nationals living in Japan held a rally in Tokyo on Saturday. They called for the release of Aung San Suu Kyi and marked her 76th birthday. About 250 people gathered at a university in Shibuya Ward. Aung San Suu Kyi had been virtually leading Myanmar since she won the general election in 2015. But she has been detained since the military seized power in February. Participants wore flowers in their hair. That is Aung San Suu Kyi's trademark. They also wrote messages expressing their hopes for peace in Myanmar and their leader's release.
I am praying for her health and safety. That is all I can do right now.
I want people to think about what's happening in Myanmar as if they were dealing with these issues themselves.
People also took to the streets and called for Aung San Suu Kyi's release in Myanmar's largest city of Yangon. The UN General Assembly has condemned Myanmar's military for violence against civilians. The world body has also called for an arms embargo on the country. The resolution was adopted on Friday with the support of 119 countries. It urges the military government to release all political detainees, including Aung San Suu Kyi, and immediately stop violence against peaceful protesters.
The military is killing innocent civilians and peaceful protesters. I hereby appeal all member states, especially those are exporting weapons to the Myanmar military, to stop selling them immediately.
The military has been brutally suppressing protests since February's coup. A human rights group says a total of 870 people have been killed as of Friday. The resolution is not legally binding. 36 countries did not vote, including China, Russia, and others that are reluctant to put pressure on Myanmar. Thailand and Brunei also abstained. Both are members of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. More people than ever are fleeing persecution, violence, and human rights abuses. The number of displaced persons around the world has reached a record high. Officials at the UN Refugee Agency says more than 82 million people have been forced to flee their homes. Many had no choice but to look for refuge inside their own countries. The coronavirus pandemic prevented them from crossing borders. Most are victims of the civil war in Syria. Millions have tried to escape the political crisis in Venezuela. In Myanmar, about 1.1 million Rohingya Muslims have fled their homes to neighboring Bangladesh. Officials warn that the pandemic and extreme weather could lead to worsening food crises, and that could intensify conflicts in the coming months. The coronavirus state of emergency is ending in Tokyo, Osaka, and other prefectures on Sunday, although it will remain in Okinawa. In most places, it's being replaced by intensive quasi-emergency measures, but many people are worried the change could spark another surge in cases. That comes as the pandemic continues to overshadow the upcoming Olympics. Tokyo Governor Koike Yuriko has canceled public viewing events planned for the games by the metropolitan government. Instead, some sites will be used to give vaccinations. This wholesaler distributes drinks like beer and sake. He's busy as restaurants and bars will go back to serving alcohol from Monday.
We're getting a lot of orders, and we're busy for the first time in a while. Now we can sell sake, and I feel it's a step forward, despite the restrictions.
Venues will only be able to offer alcohol between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m., and only to people visiting on their own or in pairs. Customers will need to leave after 90 minutes. Meanwhile, several companies have begun vaccinating employees ahead of the full-fledged launch of workplace inoculations on Monday. Mobile phone carrier KDDI kicked off its program on Saturday, targeting people who will work at its vaccination site.
I'm relieved that I'll be able to work with peace of mind.
The company plans to inoculate up to 70,000 staff. Kindai University rehearsed its vaccine rollout. Doctors and staff gathered at its main campus in Higashi Osaka City, Western Japan, to go over procedures. Up to 34,000 students, staff, and teachers are set to get jabs from Monday. Nationwide, officials confirmed over 1,500 new cases and 28 deaths on Saturday. The total number of patients in serious condition stands at around 700. Vaccines are a key weapon in the fight against the coronavirus. Now, a group of scientists expect the Pfizer jab to work on the Gamma variant first identified in Brazil. Kawaoka Yoshihiro, project professor at the University of Tokyo's Institute of Medical Science, led the team. They published a study in a U.S. journal. The researchers say people who receive the Pfizer vaccine carry antibodies that are almost as effective against the Gamma variant as they are against the original virus. But Kawaoka warns that people shouldn't drop their guard even after getting the vaccine. He says they should still follow basic anti-infection measures. A 17th century replica of Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa has fetched more than $3 million at auction. The painting sold on Friday for about 10 times its estimate in an online sale by Christie's auction house in Paris. The reproduction is believed to have been made in the early 1600s, about 100 years after Da Vinci painted the original Mona Lisa. His masterpiece, which hangs in the Louvre, is painted on a wood panel, while the replica is on canvas. An official of the auction house says although global art experts judge the work is not a genuine Da Vinci, the final bids still set a record for reproduction. Major League Baseball sensation Ohtani Shohei says he will compete in the Home Run Derby on July 12th in Denver, Colorado. He posted the announcement on Friday on Instagram. Ohtani said he is excited to announce, "I'll be participating in the 2021 Home Run Derby. See you all in Colorado." The 26-year-old plays for the Los Angeles Angels and has been thrilling fans with his powerful hitting and pitching. Ohtani will be the first Japanese national to feature in the Derby, in which 8 players attempt to hit as many home runs as they can within a set time. Ohtani is also expected to appear in the MLB All-Star Game to be held the following day. He leads the event's balloting among American League designated hitters. Those were the stories for this hour.
The hardline cleric Ebrahim Raisi has won Iran's presidential election. The last votes are still being counted, but it's clear that Mr. Raisi has secured a crushing victory, although reformists were largely barred from even standing. The UN envoy to Myanmar has warned there's a real risk of large-scale civil war. Christina Schraner Borgener warned the UN General Assembly time is running out to reverse the military coup. Roman Catholic bishops in the US have made a first move towards denying Holy Communion to politicians, including President Joe Biden, who support abortion rights. They voted to provide guidance on the issue, defying advice from the Vatican. And Japan is cancelling plans to open 6 live viewing areas in Tokyo, where Olympic Games spectators could have watched next month. That's because of coronavirus restrictions.